There is a kind of tragedy that doesn't look like tragedy at all. No car crash, no catastrophe, no single moment where everything falls apart. Just a quiet apartment, a stable paycheck, a phone that never stops delivering something to you, food when you want it, entertainment whenever you're bored, a comfortable bed, a predictable routine. And years later, you wake up and realize something is missing. Not money, not safety, not comfort, meaning. Because the most dangerous life isn't always the one that goes badly. Sometimes it's the one that goes well enough, that you never feel forced to change it. You don't hate your life. You simply know, somewhere deep inside, that it was supposed to become something more. You had an idea, a talent, a business, a craft, a place you wanted to see, a person you wanted to become. But the years kept passing, and every time the difficult choice appeared, you chose the easier one. You stayed, you delayed, you told yourself there was still time. And because nothing terrible happened, you assumed you were making the right decision. Until one day, you realized that comfort didn't destroy your potential. It simply gave you enough comfort to leave it untouched. And that's the question this video is really asking. What if the life you're protecting so carefully is the very life that's keeping you from living? We have built something remarkable. A world where almost every inconvenience has an answer. Food arrives at your door. Entertainment finds you before you're even looking for it. Maps tell you where to go. Algorithms choose what you watch. AI can write, translate, summarize, organize, recommend. And increasingly, it can even do the things we once had to struggle to learn ourselves. None of this is inherently bad. Convenience is useful. Technology can give us extraordinary leverage. The problem begins when convenience stops being a tool and becomes the default condition of our lives. Because growth has always required friction. You had to learn because you didn't know. You had to practice because you weren't good enough. You had to travel because the world wasn't delivered to your door. You had to talk to people because there wasn't an algorithm deciding who you encountered. You had to tolerate boredom because boredom couldn't instantly be replaced by stimulation. Friction forced you to adapt, and adaptation changed you. Now imagine a life where almost every uncomfortable feeling has an immediate escape. You're bored, scroll. You're lonely, open an app. You're hungry, order. You're tired, watch something. You're uncertain, search. You're uncomfortable with a task, distract yourself. You can spend an entire day avoiding discomfort, without ever feeling like you've done anything obviously destructive. That's what makes modern comfort so difficult to recognize. It rarely looks like destruction. It looks like relief. 5 minutes here, 20 minutes there. One more episode, one more scroll, one more day. And because each choice feels harmless, the total cost remains invisible. Until months disappear, then years. And something strange happens. You may become extremely good at maintaining your life without ever expanding it. You have routines, you have responsibilities, you have things to do. But underneath the activity, there's very little movement. You're functioning, but you're not evolving. You're surviving comfortably. And the human mind can mistake the absence of pain for the presence of peace. They're not the same thing. A quiet life can be peaceful, but it can also be numb. And sometimes, what you call peace is simply the absence of anything difficult enough to force you to grow.
Potential is one of the strangest things about being human. You can't see it. You can't measure it directly. You only notice it through possibilities. The book you could write, the business you could build, the body you could develop, the person you could become. And because potential is invisible, it's remarkably easy to waste. You can spend 10 years never failing,
because you never seriously attempted anything that could have failed. From the outside, your life may even look successful. You have a job, you pay your bills, you have a decent home. People tell you that you're doing fine, and technically, they may be right. But there is another kind of failure that doesn't show up on a resume. Functional stagnation. Everything works, nothing grows. You become efficient at maintaining a life you no longer want. And the most dangerous part is that the longer you stay there, the more convincing your reasons become. You're waiting for the right time. You're being responsible. You're not ready yet. You don't want to risk what you've already built. And sometimes those reasons are legitimate. There are seasons of life where stability matters. There are responsibilities you cannot simply abandon. The problem isn't safety itself. The problem is when safety becomes the unquestioned objective of your entire existence. Because there is a point where a shield becomes a cage. You know you've reached that point when your primary question is no longer, what kind of life do I want? But, how little discomfort can I tolerate? That question will quietly shrink your world. You'll reject opportunities because they're uncertain. You'll stop learning because being a beginner feels embarrassing. You'll avoid ambitious people because they remind you of what you aren't doing. You'll choose familiar environments because they require nothing new from you. And eventually, your life becomes smaller. Not because someone forced it to become smaller, but because you kept choosing the option that required the least from you. That's the slow decay of potential. Not dramatic, not visible. Just 1,000 tiny decisions that all point in the same direction. Away from possibility, toward familiarity. Meaning is expensive, not financially, psychologically. A meaningful life asks something from you. It asks you to care deeply enough that failure actually matters. It asks you to choose something worth struggling for. It asks you to become a beginner. It asks you to be misunderstood. It asks you to tolerate uncertainty. And sometimes, it asks you to sacrifice comfort that you could have kept. That's why purpose and convenience rarely coexist perfectly. The things that matter most are usually not the easiest things. Building a company is hard. Mastering a craft is hard. Raising a family well is hard. Creating something original is hard. Becoming physically strong is hard. Leaving an environment that no longer fits you is hard. Even figuring out what you actually want can be hard. And yet, there is a strange paradox. The hardest days of your life can sometimes be the most psychologically satisfying. Not because suffering is inherently good, it isn't. But because effort can produce something comfort cannot. A sense that your actions matter. You finish a difficult day and you're exhausted. But there's a difference between being exhausted because you consumed yourself and being exhausted because you spent yourself on something meaningful. One feels empty. The other can feel deeply peaceful. That's why purpose creates a different kind of fatigue. You aren't simply tired. You are tired with direction. And direction changes how struggle feels. A difficult workout feels different when you're training for something you care about. Long nights feel different when you're building something that belongs to you. Studying feels different when the knowledge connects to a future you actually want. Sacrifice becomes easier to tolerate when you know what it's buying. This is why meaning cannot simply be optimized. You can't automate purpose. You can't download it. You can't outsource it completely. At some point, you have to choose what is worth suffering for. And that's where many people retreat. Because comfort asks, what can I avoid? Purpose asks, what is worth enduring? Those are radically different questions. Choosing a meaningful life doesn't mean destroying the comfortable parts of your life. It doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow, selling everything, moving across the world, or turning suffering into a personality. That would be another form of extremism. The real challenge is much quieter. It's learning to recognize the moments when discomfort is actually pointing toward growth, and the moments when discomfort is simply unnecessary. You need discernment, because some suffering builds you, some suffering only drains you. The goal isn't maximum difficulty, it's meaningful difficulty. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding because it genuinely isn't right for me? And what am I avoiding because it might expose me? There's a difference. One is wisdom, the other is fear. And the distinction becomes clearer when you stop asking, does this feel comfortable? And start asking, does this move me toward the person I want to become? That question changes your decisions. You might spend less time scrolling, not because entertainment is evil, but because you realize you have something you would rather build. You might spend more time alone, not because people are bad, but because you need enough silence to hear yourself think. You might say no to opportunities that look impressive because they don't align with what you actually value. You might finally begin the project you've postponed for 3 years, while knowing there is absolutely no guarantee it will work. And then comes the difficult middle, the part nobody posts. You've given up some of the comfort, but the meaning hasn't arrived yet. You've started, but you're not good yet. You're building, but nobody cares. You're sacrificing, but the payoff is invisible. This is where many people return to the old life, not because the new path was wrong, but because they expected purpose to feel rewarding immediately. It often doesn't. Meaning is sometimes delayed. You have to keep going long enough for the thing you're building to become real enough to return something to you. That is the messy middle. And surviving it requires something deeper than motivation. It requires conviction. Eventually, you have to confront a question that comfort allows you to postpone. What do you want your life to have meant? Not how comfortable was it? Not how efficiently did you manage it? Not how many conveniences did you accumulate? What did you actually do with it? Because your time is not a savings account. You can't preserve it forever. Every year you spend is gone. The question isn't whether you'll spend your life. You will. The question is what you'll spend it on. You can spend it protecting yourself from discomfort, or you can spend it building something that would have been impossible without you. That doesn't have to mean becoming famous. A legacy can be enormous or deeply private. Raising people well, building something useful, creating art, teaching, leading, protecting, serving, mastering a craft, changing one person's life. The point isn't scale, the point is significance. A meaningful life isn't necessarily a spectacular life. It's a life where your actions and your values eventually meet, where the things you say matter and the things you do reflect them. So take an honest look at your routine. Where is the hollow ease? What do you repeatedly choose because it's comfortable, rather than because it's meaningful? Where are you protecting yourself from a risk that might actually be worth taking? What have you been postponing because you don't want to be a beginner? What part of your potential have you kept permanently hypothetical, because reality would require effort? You don't need to change everything. You need to identify one place where you've been choosing convenience over meaning, and reverse it. 1 hour of building instead of 1 hour of scrolling. One difficult conversation instead of another week of avoidance. One application, one chapter, one workout, one uncomfortable first step. Not because one action changes your life, because it changes your direction. And direction compounds.
Maybe the greatest mistake we make is assuming that a good life should feel comfortable most of the time. Maybe a good life is not the one with the least friction. Maybe it's the one where the friction is worth it. The one where you're tired, but you know why. The one where you're uncertain, but moving. The one where people don't always understand, but you remain aligned. The one where you occasionally choose the difficult path because you know exactly what it is protecting. Your potential, your character, your future, your meaning. One day, comfort will no longer matter to you. Not because comfort was evil, but because you'll finally understand that comfort was never the destination. It was only one ingredient of a life. And a life built entirely around avoiding discomfort can become a life spent avoiding itself. So don't ask only, how can I make my life easier? Ask the harder question, what would make my life matter? Then, build toward that. Because at the end of your life, you probably won't wish you had spent more time being comfortable. You'll wish you had spent more time being alive. Mind of influence.